Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mirror List Monday, right here on the Eat, Sleep, List YouTube channel. My name is Matt Johnson, your host, and today I want to talk about family traditions, reflecting upon past ones in order to create new ones. Let's make a list. Well, I hope every one of you had a great Halloween holiday. I know that I certainly did. Me, my wife, and kid did a Jurassic Park theme costume deal, and it was great. We did a little bit of trick-or-treating and spent some time with our respective families. It was great. It was really good, and I just hope every last one of you got to enjoy it as much as I did. And it's crazy, though. It is crazy. We are over the month of October. We are already in the month of November, and we are on the home stretch for 2025. There's 2 months left, maybe 8, 9, 10 weeks at the most of this year, and it is surreal how fast this year has flown by. It really has. We've been doing this show for just a week shy of 9 months already, and I feel like we just started 2 months ago. Sometimes there's been a lot, and I thank all of you for being a part of this journey. But we're not talking about that today. All right, this home stretch to me, this November and December, it is all about celebrating the things that we love, the people that we love to spend time with. And I thought there's no better way to kick off this home stretch than talking about family traditions. All right, I come from a family that is rich in tradition, and I was so spoiled with tradition growing up. All right, so spoiled. I came from a loving home. My parents were awesome. Just stop speaking past tense. They are awesome. All right, my mom and dad did everything in their power to give me, my sister, and my brother the best possible childhood. And yes, there are times where I pick apart little things, little traumas, little reasons why I am the way I am sometimes, and for these Mirror List Monday videos. But when I look at the grand picture, right, the big picture, my childhood was awesome. And I have a lot of family traditions to thank for that. All right, when I think back upon my childhood, we had routines. These traditions were basically routines. We had daily routines, we had weekly routines, monthly, annually, and they all stand out. And the traditions, right, the things that we did over and over again repetitively, they became something to look forward to, especially when they were spaced out. Tradition can be really anything to anybody, all right? And that's the fun part of making this list, is that my top 10 family traditions are going to look vastly different than anybody who watches this video, all right? And I think it's really cool to kind of to see how that goes, but it could be anything, all right? It could be the way we celebrate holidays and who we celebrate holidays with. I adored the holidays as a kid. I did. I was so excited. It was like these little benchmarks or milestones of the year. All right, up next, Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, and then New Year's Eve, and then we have Valentine's Day and Easter and 4th of July and all sorts of stuff. Like, that's tradition. How we celebrate it every single year is tradition. Birthdays. People have different traditions for their birthdays. All right? We're going to talk plenty about birthdays in my top 10 list, because that's a tradition. All right? The way that a birthday is celebrated is no doubt a tradition. A vacation. All right? Maybe it's a place that you go to every so often, or just the idea of going on vacation with your family. Like, we're doing this every year or every other year. That's a tradition, and it's all just so iconic. It's so iconic. It is like family tradition is the baseline for our entire upbringings, right? Like we grow up, our family sets the tone for the rest of our lives with how we are rooted in tradition, in the things that we do regularly. And that's why, like, the funny thing is, like, I look back, again, so rich in tradition, and like post like moving out, more so post high school, it just felt off. Like, we still do some of the traditions that we used to have, but man, hormones and sports and dating and all sorts of stuff interrupted a lot of the various family traditions. And that's naturally just a part of growing up, I guess. But, I had so much. And the tricky thing for me, where I'm at as a parent now, a year and a half in, a little bit more than a year and a half, is establishing my own traditions. All right? Me and my wife come from very strong families where it's family first. So there are times it can complicate the holidays a little bit. There's no doubt about it. There's a struggle of finding balance of time. I want to make extra time with my own side of the family, and she wants to spend time with hers. And it's added a little bit of stress and anxiety and extra traveling that's kind of taken away some of the spark and fun of the holidays for me. But the challenge is establishing my own traditions while still honoring our respective families, while still spending time with our respective families, but giving our son the traditions that we had growing up, the things to look forward to every year or every month or however it may be, and giving him something, some sort of routine that he can look back fondly upon. If you haven't been able to tell, all right, I am a huge proponent of family traditions and establishing family traditions. I am well aware that I am more fortunate than some, maybe even most, when it comes to reflecting upon their childhood and the family dynamic. It breaks my heart when I hear of people who are so disconnected from their parents or siblings, all right, and they don't really have much to look back upon. And for them, it's absolutely normal. But from the outside looking in, it's kind of like I feel bad when people didn't get to experience the love and tradition that I got to growing up. It really does make me sad. Because, like, I can't say it enough. I loved my family traditions, and it gave my family an identity. All right, the things that we did, the way that we carried ourselves gave us an identity. When everybody else, when I'm growing up and everybody else is kind of running off and doing their own thing, and people can't, like, I'm literally like hearing classmates who can't wait to get away from their families and stuff. And I used to be like so, like, I wanted to be with them, but my family traditions came first. Like, it was really difficult. It was a really hard thing to comprehend when, like, for example, like, I grew up going to mass all the time, and a lot of my friends were running around at 11, 12 o'clock on a Sunday or doing their own thing. And although, religion is not a very important thing for me, there was spending time with my family at mass was just something you did. All right. And it's a family tradition that, it's definitely not on my top 10 list, but it's something that just being together like that took precedent. But it gave my family an identity. We weren't like other families in that regard. Because no two families operate the same. They don't. I look at something as like my upbringing versus my wife's upbringing. All right, because I've heard stories. She's talked about how different her childhood was compared to what I got to experience. And I think it's the coolest thing. All right, I think it's the coolest thing that we both come from loving families who are family first type of families. And our childhoods were so different. All right. The way we celebrated Christmas and Thanksgiving and our birthdays, vastly different. All right. Vastly different. The way that we go on vacations and the frequency of going on vacations, vastly different. Amongst other things. Amongst other things. And that's the coolest part about tradition, because it gives our respective families an identity. And that's why it's so important to have that identity and have those traditions, is to stand out, to be independent in this cookie cutter artificial world that we live in. It gives our respective families a reason to be different. All right, everybody, it is time for my favorite part of every single video that we do. It is time to make the list. As I always encourage, please feel free to comment along in our comment section or send your list to our email address, eatsleeplistpod@gmail.com. My inbox is always open, and we put that email in every single video description that we do. All right, please, I would love to hear some of your family traditions. I would love to hear it. It's really cool to hear and see how people celebrated stuff differently, especially holidays and birthdays and so much more. I like the diversity. I'm excited at the potential of us having something similar, or the large chance that we celebrated something very, very differently. And it's always cool to hear different ideas. But let's get to it. Here are my top 10 favorite family traditions. Let's start off with my number 10. It's something quite simple, but something that I have not really done probably as much as I should have post leaving my parents, flying from the nest, so to speak. But it's eating dinner together at the table. I loved this aspect. In hindsight, loved this aspect of growing up. And maybe I didn't appreciate it as much when I was a kid as I probably should have. But looking back, it was that one time of day that all of us were together. All right. And from an early age, it was, me, my dad, mom, and sister. Eventually, my brother would come along, sitting in his high chair at the end of the table, and eventually growing into his own chair. But it was just it was nice, right? Just sharing a great meal that was made mostly by my mom, but sometimes by my dad, but just being there together, just talking about our respective days. We did that 6-7 days a week sometimes. And, we used to come in and have it sitting there ready to go. My chair was next to my dad's. My sister's was next to my mom's. And we'd say grace, and then we'd start eating and just talking. And it was great, just great level of communication between each other, just talking about how our day was. And it was great to kind of get stuff off of our chests and just talk about what was going on, anything like that, anything important going on. And I miss that. Now, my kitchen table, my dining room table is every time I clean it off, just more crap just gets put on it. So it's a little frustrating. I hope it's something that, we can get going on and do, because I think it's really important to sit and have those conversations together. I really do. I miss it. And there's a lot of fun memories sitting at the dinner table together. That is my number 10. Number 9, watching the air show. Growing up, very close to the Niagara Falls Air Base, we've seen a lot of cool stuff in the day. All right. And back then, in the 90s and early 2000s, I can't remember when it stopped or even why it stopped, but they used to do an air show at the base. It was like August they would do it, but it was great. It was loud. It was cool. Big jets and all sorts of cool airplanes flying through and doing all sorts of crazy maneuvers and patterns and flying in like with other jets and planes and stuff. really awesome to grow up and have access to that and really have a front row seat to it. Because they'd practice throughout the week, first and foremost. And when I was a kid, I didn't have a job or didn't go to summer school. I just woke up, we played all day, and so on and so forth. So we'd be playing in the backyard, playing in the driveway, and just hearing and watching these loud jets just fly right over our house, rumbling. It was so, like, it's hard to describe, but it was so cool. And then Saturday the show would be going on, and we just hang out and watch everything kind of come together, and it was really amazing stuff. We've seen a lot of other cool stuff too out of that air base. We've seen like a paratroopers, like they were jumping out of some of the bigger airplanes with the parachutes. There'd be times we were in the pool and certain jets and stuff were spelling out names and words in the backyard. Like it was pretty surreal. It was pretty surreal. We've seen a lot of cool stuff, but the air show was the absolute best because sometimes cousins, aunts, uncles would come over to watch it. And yeah, a lot of joy. I missed that. I do. They brought it back about 10 years ago, very briefly, and then it just kind of went away again. But yeah, air show, the best, and that is my number 9. Number 8. Growing up, spent a lot of time at the Reservoir Park. Okay, this was maybe a 10, 15-minute drive from my house growing up, and we'd go there all seasons. That's how great this park is. All right, all season long. Wintertime. That's the big fun hill to go sledding down. All right, going up, marching all the way up, and sledding all the way down. Fantastic. All right, spring, summer, fall, all that time. Just walking, just going there to walk. Summertime, we'd have dinner picnics, lunch picnics, all sorts of different picnics there. And then we'd go walk around the reservoir. And one of my favorite parts of doing that was getting really close. There was like a little ramp that brought you right down by the water. And we just throw rocks in the water. Just simple. Just throw rocks. It was fun. All right. My dad used to skip rocks and he'd show off his stuff. He was really good at skipping rocks. But just something so simple as just throwing rocks in the water, hearing the splash. It was cool. There was a lot of times we did that. I actually brought my kid down there this past summer, and obviously he's really too little to function, in that kind of manner. He really, especially to appreciate it. Next summer he should be good. He's starting to throw stuff around the house, so maybe throwing rocks into the reservoir will be a good time for him. But yeah, it was a nice little tradition. We did it a lot for many years, and yeah, there's actually a really cool picture that I love of me and my dad. It's like a couple days before my sister was born. It was like our last family outing before I was not an only child anymore. He's blowing on like a dandelion, and it's really neat. So number 8, Reservoir Park hangouts, throwing rocks in the water, and all the picnics that it entailed. Number 7. Watching, one of the most important things for me, I think, when it comes to consuming sports is watching it with people that you love. It's a nice reason to get together and spend time with family. It is. Watching it alone is kind of like, like you do it just because, but watching it alone is just not the same as watching it with friends or family. Super Bowl was one of our best traditions that I loved to experience, because my mom would bust out the chili bowl and make a whole bunch of chili. We'd have chips and all sorts of goodies, and she usually made a football cake or some kind of dessert to go with it. But even back in like the 90s and early 2000s, when I didn't really love football, this was a unique and special way to get together and just, again, another extra reason to be together. Sometimes my uncle and aunt would come over with our cousins, and we just hang out, but it was just so special. I couldn't be bothered with football, the regular season or most of the playoffs, but the Super Bowl is what I was really like sitting down and invested in, especially because there was good food to go with it. So yeah, our Super Bowl Sunday celebrations, there were times, actually, I should add this, that once I became of age of playing video games, me and my dad would usually play a game of Madden that morning or early afternoon of whoever's playing in the Super Bowl. He'd usually stomp me out because I didn't beat him much when I was younger. And but that would be kind of our start to the day, and it was really exciting stuff. So love the Super Bowl. I love the get-togethers, and I really haven't watched it much in the last couple of years. At least the way, I know last year I didn't watch it because I was so fed up with football. 2 years ago I did it for a diaper party, but it's just like that. Our little family gathering of that was just the best. Just the best. All right, my number 6 is our Disney World trips. All right, I do appreciate those a lot. It was our vacation. My wife's vacations, her family does cruises. They did a lot of that stuff. So when I think of her family and vacations, cruises is their family identity, their family vacation identity. For my family, it was our trips to Disney World, which we took every couple of years. We would drive down, and it was so much fun. We loved the adventure. We were just talking about it today with my dad and one of his cousins, but the adventure of driving down, all right, from New York to Orlando was fun. It was a little cramped and could be stressful sometimes, but man, I loved it. They'd set up the TV in the car, and we'd watch VHSs all the time, and eventually we got to upgrade to DVDs. But it was special. It was special. And then just being down there. I've been to Disney so many times in my life. Like it's really cool, and I don't take all of that for granted. I don't. If my calculations are correct, I've been there 10 times, but 9 times with my family unit. And it was good. I haven't been there with them in a decade. I hate that. I do, but it was just our trip. Our trip, we made it special. Some trips were longer than others, but we did so much. So we went in 97 was the first year we went. Then it was 2000, 2002, 2004, 2007, 2010, 2013, 2015. So now, okay. So I've been 9 times, 8 times with my family. That's the correct way of saying it. But it was our trip. It was our trip. Yeah, we did little stuff here and there with Canada's Wonderland. We did Washington D.C., but Disney World was our thing. And yeah, I'm grateful for that. A lot of people just don't care for Disney, which already that makes it that much more special. That our family unit cares about it so much, but to say that we've been there as many times as we have, that's significant. So, Disney World trips, that is my number 6. Number 5, large family get-togethers. I love that I grew up seeing my cousins, aunts, uncles, and grandparents as frequently as I did. It'd be crazy if a couple weeks went by and I didn't see cousins or aunts and uncles. That's how close we are. And my mom and dad both come from bigger families, right? My dad had 3 siblings. My mom had 3 immediate and then 4 step siblings. So there was a lot of family get-togethers, whether it was birthday parties, whether it was holidays. We were always getting together for some reason or another. And if we weren't doing a massive get-together, there was play dates, going over each other's house and hanging out and so on and so forth. But we were so connected and close to our extended family, and I'm grateful for that. My wife, when she first came into the family, was surprised how close we all were, because her family, her extended family, used to only really get together once a year. Christmas Eve was the big, family Christmas party, where you see uncles, great uncles, cousins, so on and so forth. And that was the majority of it. But for us, it was just a regular, it was just another gathering, right? Every couple weeks there'd be something new. But I loved that. I'm really grateful for that. My cousins were my first best friends, and were my best friends for a very long time until we all just kind of grew up and got older. And I still like, it makes it that much more special now when we do get together. So we do get together for some of the big ones. We do get together for Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July, Easter. But it makes it that much more special when we do get together, because we don't do it as often as we once did. There was a point a few years ago where it was like once a month. It's crazy. It was a little crazy, but less is more, and our holidays together are much more meaningful as adults now that there's a little bit less. But I'm super grateful for large family gatherings. I am. I love my family, every one of them, and that's my number 5. Number 4, birthday celebrations. Had to talk about this one. Not just my own birthday, but all of our birthdays. We went to town. All right, we went to town. We'd have our private family birthday celebration, and then we'd have a birthday party to go along with it, with aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, and friends. But nobody in my life has made my birthday feel so significant as my parents have. The bar is way too high. No, like, my parents have made me feel so loved and special on my birthday. Every single year, even at 34 years old, they go the extra mile. I get weird about my birthday because nowadays I'm around a lot of people who just don't, I don't know. It's like one day they want to be super nice, then just kind of the rest of the year they're kind of blah to you. But my family went above and beyond for the way my birthdays were. We would do, we do the movies. That was one of our big traditions, is going to the movies. Guaranteed going to the movies, or doing a cool dinner with it. Going out for dinner, and then we'd have cake and presents. But on top of that, like, the extra big parties, right? I had bowling parties. I had laser tag parties. I had roller skate parties. I had parties where they used to pay people in costumes to come and hang out. Quite a few times. My parents were so good at throwing birthday parties, and I miss that. I wish I wasn't such a curmudgeon now about my birthday, but the one group of people that really keep it going for me in a positive way is my parents. So I thank them for that forever. My parents, not just my parents, but my brother and sister as well. But even celebrating my siblings' birthdays. My sister had some really cool ones. My brother, his was a family gathering at a pavilion at Oppenheim Park every single June, and the weather was more often than not great, and it was such a fun time playing volleyball, or going to play at the basketball courts, or going in some of the water park areas. Beautiful stuff. The birthday parties were on point, and just excited to spend them with my family. All right, my number 3. This is one I'm super grateful that my family still does. I am, because my wife and my ex-girlfriend are both allergic to Christmas trees. So in my own home, I have not had my own personal, wherever I'm living at, for the last 14 years, I have not had a real Christmas tree in my place. And I like the real Christmas tree. I know it's messy. I know it's maintenance and stuff, but it's just, to me, that's like exciting and awesome, is to have a real Christmas tree. It's different nowadays. This is some of that like artificial kind of stuff I'm talking about, where it's just easier and more convenient for people to go and buy a tree to set up. And I'm not knocking people who do, but from my perspective, from my family's traditions, cutting down to the tree and selecting it is just special. I remember just being so excited to go put on our snowsuits. There'd be times where we go get Pizza Junction pizza and go roll out to this couple of the tree farms, like late at night, and going to cut down a tree in just pitch black, have some lights and to kind of see what we're doing. But man, it was special. And there were times where my uncle and aunt would join us, and we got a lot of VHS tapes about us just going to pick the perfect Christmas tree. And we still do that to this day. Because after Thanksgiving, my mom and they want to go and get the Christmas tree and go take care of it, get it, and decorate it and get ready to go. And yeah, it's a good time. I love it. It's a lot of fun for me still. And then, yeah, it's one of those kind of dying arts where convenience and affordability is just taking precedence over tradition for a lot of people, but I'm glad my family still stays true. So that's my number 3, cutting down the family Christmas tree. Now, number 2, it is how we celebrate Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Growing up, Christmas Eve was our personal family exchanges, all right, inter-family exchange, and we get pizza and imitation crab and chicken wings and all sorts of fun little snacks, and we'd all that's how we gave each other gifts. And we'd watch a Christmas movie, somebody would read the night before Christmas, we'd have our Christmas pajamas, and we'd go to sleep. And wake up, and Santa was there. Go and see the living room, and the cookies and milk that we left out were drank and bitten into, and the living room would be just full of presents. And it was the best. It was the best. There were times where we go to Mass Christmas Day. As we got a little bit older, we used to do it on Christmas Eve before we did our Christmas Eve festivities. I'm kind of want to do the Christmas Mass thing again, even though I have faith, but I'm not, the religion part is always tough for me. But it's like going to a department store or something, and just the Christmas vibes, right? All the Christmas decorations are out, the music's playing, and it just hits differently for Christmas. So I don't know. I think that might be something maybe a midnight Mass or something this year, even if I have to go by myself, maybe. But yeah, then Christmas Day comes along. You're calling everybody on the phone, wishing them a Merry Christmas, which is so much better. I mean, the texting thing is more convenient, right? Texting people Merry Christmas, but I love looking back that we used to call each other on the phone, call our grandparents. Then we'd have our big, huge cousin, big extended family gathering on Christmas Day, and it was just so cool. It was so cool. A lot of good memories with that. A lot of good memories. Doing these family gatherings, and you used to be so excited to go to Christmas and then show off what you got to your cousins, and you'd be playing with all the different toys you got. You can only bring so many, and yeah, it was special. It was special. So number 2, the way my family celebrated Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And my number 1, all right, this was a weekly tradition. My love of pizza stems from a family tradition. Every Wednesday and Saturday was pizza night. My mom would make homemade pizza, and it changed a lot over the years, the way that she did it. Sometimes there was the circular, pan she would make it in, just regular cheese and pepperoni, nice thick crust too. And then it evolved. We did Hawaiian style for a long time, and then we did the sugar crust bottom, which was really different. And then my mom made stuffed crust pizza, homemade stuffed crust pizza. She used to tuck cheese sticks in the crust and do that. But Wednesday night was, we're going to have pizza. But Saturday was the extra fun time because we were going to have it. We'd always go to Blockbuster Saturday afternoon, pick out a movie for us to watch, and then a movie for my parents to watch afterwards. But we do that. We'd have ice cream. And then sometimes, if it was early enough, we'd play board games. And that was like, it's crazy how just normal that was, and just how I don't have that like anymore. But that was a weekly thing to look forward to. All right, a weekly milestone to hit. Like, oh God, I can't wait to get to Saturday because pizza and Blockbuster and family time. And it's the best. It really was. So I yearn for that. I mean, geez, pizza 2 nights a week. Sign me up. Sometimes I have it three times a week. I never get sick of it. But yeah, it was special. It was special. So there it is, everybody. My family traditions list. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear yours. Again, I cannot say that enough. This time of year, it's a good time to be with the people that you love. All right? Make that extra effort to be, enshrine yourself with the people that you love and care about. And we got a lot more fun stuff like this to talk about for Mirrorless Monday. But we'll be back on Friday with some not so much in the tradition kind of metric or fun memories, but I got something a little fun for you guys on Friday. So there it is. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on Friday. Till next time, do you even list?